This gritty offense out of the Steelers playbook is the perfect scheme for players who want to pound the rock with a powerful running back behind the size and strength of 4 tight ends. This scheme is out of the single back ace double wing formation, and today we're going to be looking at how we can attack the defense both on the ground and through the air in this unique symmetrical formation. We were taking on the Washington Commanders at FedEx Field, and before running any plays, I added the play weak toss to my audibles. That immediately came in handy because on the very first play, my opponent came out in goal line defense to counter my 4 tight end set. I audibled to weak toss and motioned over tight end Pat Freiermuth to give me a massive numbers advantage on the toss side, and before the Washington fans could even settle into their seats, Najee Harris was sprinting down the sideline and taking it all the way for a 78-yard touchdown. On defense, I was running my nickel over scheme, which can be found along with all my other ebooks over at sprucegoose.gg. On the first play, I sniffed out my opponent's attempt to RPO glitch me with RPO read flat wheel, but we kind of forgot how to tackle, so he still picked up 9 yards. After my opponent went backwards on second down with a failed attempt at another RPO, on third down, TJ Watt went crazy with the edge threat ability, and he threw the tackle to the ground before getting the hit on quarterback Sam Howell. On fourth down, we completely bottled up my opponent's triple option, and now it was time to get back to work on offense. To start my drive, I saw that my opponent had gotten out of goal line defense, but with only 4 down linemen and nobody plugging the middle, I fed Najee Harris with halfback dive for an easy 6-yard gain. On second down, my opponent started plugging the middle with his linebackers, so I went back to weak toss, but the backside defensive tackle came out of nowhere to bring Najee Harris down for just a 1-yard gain. Now it was time for one of the toughest things in Madden, passing the ball with Kenny Pickett, and I tried a unique setup out of the play tight end shake that was going to give me 2 options to hit short routes over the middle, but my opponent wisely sent the blitz and sacked me for an 8-yard loss. On fourth down, I called PA tight end cross, and my adjustments were to motion out the right outside tight end so I could put him on a slant before bringing him back in, put the left tight end on a streak, and block the running back. I wanted to read both the crosser and the slant, and also see how well this angle route from the right inside tight end would do against man coverage. After the snap, tight end Zach Gentry got just enough separation on the crosser, and Kenny Pickett was able to get it to him for the first down. On the next play, I went back to halfback dive, but Jonathan Allen with inside stuff completely manhandled my center to bring us down for no gain, so we would have to double team him for the rest of the game. On 2nd and 10, I still wanted to run up the middle, and despite not having anyone to block the middle linebacker, I was able to scoot past him with Najee Harris for a 9-yard gain. On third down, it seemed like there should be a ton of space to run up the middle, but the stout Washington D-line held up, and now we were facing another 4th down. This time I called tight end shake, and my adjustments were to put my right inside tight end and my left outside tight end on drags. While Derek Watt on the left side somehow ended up 7 yards downfield and still hadn't cut inside for his drag, the good news was that Pat Freiermuth got separation on his drag, and we were able to hit him to take a 14-0 lead. My opponent wasn't giving up though, and on his next drive, he put together a nice pair of plays when he took it outside with Antonio Gibson for a 7-yard gain, and that set up a play-action pass to running back Brian Robinson Jr. in the flat. But then his throws got a bit questionable. First when he threw at my user and Miles Jack was just too slow to keep up with Terry McLaurin, and then when he threw literally right at Devin Bush, who looked like he had no clue that he was playing football as the ball whizzed right by his head. My opponent couldn't get away with it for too long though, and on 1st and 10, his poor decisions were finally punished when Cameron Sutton stepped right in front of the crosser to get us the ball back. I started off my drive with weak toss and motioned Zach Gentry over, but he slid way inside at the snap, and there was nobody to block the safety, meaning we only picked up 1 yard on the play. Needing to gain yards fast before halftime, I went with the play tight end corners and put my left outside tight end on a drag, but once again my opponent surprised me with a man blitz, and now we faced a 3rd and long. Knowing I needed more time in the pocket, I made this silly route combo out of tight end shake to beat my opponent's man blitz. The adjustments were to motion out my running back and put him on a streak, block both of my right side tight ends, and then smart route my left outside tight end on the man-beating corner route so that he would be able to make his break past the 1st down line. Sure enough, the protection held up, and Derek Watt on the corner route was able to separate from the defender to haul in the catch for a 26-yard gain. Another attempt at weak toss sent us backwards, so on 2nd down, I tried another route combo out of tight end shake. Unfortunately, once again, the man blitz was too much for my line to handle, so on 3rd and 15, I went back to our new favorite setup with the running back streak and the smart routed corner route, and we picked up another first down. With 33 seconds left and no timeouts, I called PA tight end cross and put the right outside tight end on a streak, thinking he would clear out space for the crosser coming underneath, but instead, my opponent just straight up didn't guard him, and Connor Haywood brought in the dot from Kenny Pickett to give us a 3-touchdown lead. In the second half, our cover 4 defense out of nickel over had my opponent smothered. First, when he tried this RPO orbit bubble and the slot cornerback was having none of it, and then on second down, when the outside quarter was all over Terry McLaurin on the streak. Clearly starting to get desperate, my opponent tried to force a throw to an in route over the middle, but I was waiting for it with Devin Bush and returned it to the 32-yard line. On first down, I called the play PA counter waggle, and the only adjustment was to block the inside tight end on the rollout side. With a better QB, maybe I could have set my feet and thrown to the post over the deep middle, but with Kenny Pickett, I was happy to hit Zach Gentry on the short crosser for a 10-yard gain. On the next play, I pounded the rock with Najee Harris up the middle for 4 yards, and then once again took a sack trying a new route combo out of tight end shake. On 3rd and 14, I called tight end corners, and the only adjustment was to put the right side tight end on a streak to clear out space for the corner route underneath. After the snap, I thought Derek Watt was going to break a little bit sooner on this post route, but fortunately, he was able to fight for inside leverage anyway and haul in the catch to get us inside the 10-yard line. 2 plays later, I went back to PA tight end cross, and I learned that the play art on this angle route from the right inside tight end isn't exactly right. While the play art shows that he's supposed to take his route all the way to the far left of the N in Commanders here before turning around, on the actual play, the spot he ends up in is on the D in Commanders. Because he wasn't in the spot where he was supposed to be, this ended up being an incredibly sketchy throw to Derek Watt on the crosser, but since this is Madden 23 where nothing matters, it was a touchdown anyway, and we get to call it a dot. On my opponent's next drive, he started running some gun trips tight end and called the play verticals, and because I had brought my safeties down, Minkah Fitzpatrick was all over the seam route, and we forced our 4th interception of the game. At that point, we just had to run the clock out, and here on second down, I called halfback power O, which got us a ton of open space for Najee Harris to pick up 11 yards. And a few plays later, with the clock ticking down, I gave Najee Harris the ball one more time on halfback dive, and he sliced between the blocks, threw off a defender, and rumbled into the end zone. Our stat sheet looked impeccable, with future MVP candidate Kenny Pickett leading the way by going 11 of 13 passing for 172 yards and 3 touchdowns. Najee Harris had himself a day by rushing for 127 yards and 2 touchdowns, and Derek Watt led the team in receiving by hauling in 5 catches for 77 yards and a touchdown. So if you want a scheme that's full of big, beefy boys that can overwhelm your opponent with their size both on the ground and through the air, then single back ace double wing out of the Steelers playbook just may be the scheme for you. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll catch you in the next video for another scheme breakdown.